What's going on, everybody? This is Amit back again for another interview. This time interviewing a friend of mine slash from a roommate in LA. Well, actually, he's in Newport, I believe, but we'll get into that later. Jeremy Buttke. He is the president of a company called ePath Digital, and has kind of gotten there in an interesting way, which is why I wanted to talk to him about that. So with that, I'll bring you Jeremy, and we'll keep the conversation going. So, what's up, Jeremy? How you doing, bro?
Good morning. Fantastic. How you doing?
Well, thanks. Well, thanks. You're in Newport, yeah?
Yes, sir.
All right. So, real quick. So, Zeke, who did another interview with me a few weeks back or whatever it was. Anyway, Zeke, Jeremy, and I are old friends, and we go back a good ways. Jeremy and I are roommates. Wow, some years back. And lived in Hermosa Beach. Now he's down in Newport, like I mentioned, and his company's down there as well. Correct?
Yeah, down Laguna Beach.
Perfect. So with that, I guess I'll do a quick little transition. So give me a quick little background. You were from where, and how'd you get to LA? Let's just start with the overall background.
2002 moved down to Orange County, so it's going to be 14 years as of this last July. Essentially, the economy took a shitter in 2001 and went from making really good money to slaving away for minimum wage again at a crappy 24-hour fitness. It was an old one that just opened up next to a new one, but unfortunately they were already staffed up. So saved up about $1,000, moved down, found a room for rent, and kind of the rest is history.
Hold up. You worked at a 24-hour fitness?
Yeah, dude, it was the worst job ever. Yeah, it was
Did,
they set my ass up in a fitness club after a sport club opened up literally 2 miles away.
hold
That's
up.
a hard
What were
sell.
you? What the hell were you doing with the 24-hour fitness?
Doing fucking what's it called? Client sales. Yeah,
So,
that's horrible. Again,
because
no kind of,
this guy was this Jeremy was uber skinny for a long time. That's why I'm laughing at that as well. That's why I was like, hold up, if you're in like legit fitness stuff. All right, so let me get this straight then. So you were living in Portland, was it?
yeah, Portland, Beaverton area.
Okay, and then you grew up down there, went to school over there and stuff like that as well, right?
Born and raised.
And then, all right, so how old are you in this? You said what? Oh, one. How old are you at that time when you were leaving to come down here?
Left, I was 22, so it's 2002.
All right, so it's 2002. You are working at a 24-hour fitness, and you're like, "F it, I'm out."
Perfect.
A shitty 24-hour fitness, and you're like, "Hey, I got a G. I'm heading down to California."
Yeah, well, essentially, I gave myself a 4 month goal to leave in July, and I did. But $1,000 is basically all I was able to save up.
Hold up. So then you leave, and you decide to come down here. I mean, come down here, come down to California for what? Like, what was the hope? What was the goal to come down and do what?
I mean, no opportunity in Oregon. I mean, there was more down here, so I lined up a couple interviews, found a room for rent, and basically just gambled the dice.
Interviews doing what?
Sales,
So you just
outbound, like call center type stuff.
All right. So then you come down here. You end up doing some call center type stuff. For I mean, what you found yourself in like Craigslist or whatever? Like, how'd you even get your first
Yeah,
gig?
yeah, Craigslist. Yeah, so I set up a couple interviews, and the ironic part is it's middle of July, and I interviewed with this big old fat Sicilian guy in Westminster at a company called Housing Assisted Services. So essentially, loss mitigation, loan modification before it was ever a thing in 2010 and on. And so the best part is I showed up to my interview in a fucking turtleneck because my ex girlfriend at the time actually gave me a hickey. So here because my skinny ass into my interview. It's 100 degrees in the middle of July, and I show up to my interview in a turtleneck.
All
And
right.
long story short is I got the job, and yeah, it was a great one.
Hold up. But so now you literally found this gig in Craigslist, and your only
Well,
qualifications were I can sell something.
right, yeah. I mean, I did a phone interview where they set up a in-person interview, so I had that at a couple spots. Yeah, I didn't go in totally blind, but again, it was definitely gambling the dice because if I wouldn't have got a job, who knows what would have happened.
So this was a commission job, I assume.
Yeah, minimum wage plus commission.
All right. So then you are. And where is this? This is what part of
In,
California is this
in
now?
Orange County.
It's Orange County as well.
Yeah, I was in Orange County when I first moved down here before I met you guys up in Hermosa, so I was down here for about 5 years.
All right. So you literally find a gig, and then you end up crushing it. You end up being good at this at calling people. And what exactly were you selling though? Like, what were you doing?
Basically, saving their house out of foreclosure. Like Zeke used to do.
All right. So people are going through foreclosure. You would get leads from whomever, call these people, and then try to help them with loan modifications so they could, in essence, get out of that situation.
Exactly. Yeah, we charged him a fee to do it. And then obviously I made a commission on that fee, and then I was there for about a year and a half until I stumbled into the industry that I'm in now.
All right, so then you're there for a year and a half, and how do you learn about, or okay, how do you transition from there to your next? What came after that?
Job burnout is the cause. So I just lined up more, jobs doing sales, and then there was a company called eLeads Go Apply, which my current business partner Bill Baskin was actually the COO of. So he interviewed with them, basically selling mortgage leads. This was like 2003, like late 2003.
So again, you're all right. So selling mortgage leads because you've done it for the previous person, so it was something you'd been familiar with as far as the market goes.
No, I was selling loan modifications, so I was selling a service. This one's actually selling a product, which was the leads. So it was the first time I'd actually ever gotten to the lead or digital marketing space. And obviously there was the refinance boom that happened in the early 2000s to mid 2000s, and that's kind of what I stumbled into, with just an abundance of leads to sell to brokers.
Now this is just so, all right. So you stumble into this gig, or this is somebody you knew and you got an interview with. You just kind of
Nope, stumbled
Craigslist
into it.
again,
Yeah,
or like define
yeah.
stumble. Like what do you mean?
Well, stumbled into it. Found it online. I think it was Monster or whatever. So there was an ad looking for a salesperson to sell mortgage leads. So I applied, interviewed, and got the position.
All right. So then you get this position with them selling
Mortgage lead.
leads, and
Right.
then from there you were. And how long were you there for then?
I was there for, I don't know, probably about 2 years. I actually opened up a my own loss mitigation company, as well as a lending company with somebody I used to work with at Housing Assistance Services. So had a small broker shop. So I had a full time job, but they knew about it, which was fine.
All right, hold up. So now you have your own gig on the side, and you're working with these guys as well. So you
Right.
turn that $1,000 into a decent amount more to then start your own gig.
Well, no, we threw it on a credit card. I mean, frankly, because we knew the marketing, we knew the industry. It was just kind of in my partner was a broker. It just made sense to do both. So he basically ran the day to day, and then I was basically having my full time job, and then I'd come in afterwards. And eventually, after it started making some money, I left Go Apply to try to go run that full time. Then obviously, we all know what happened to the economy after that. So lesson learned.
All right, hold up. So now you go. So you have a gig. You're
Hmm.
making decent money. You leave that gig to go with to sell leads because you figured this is the better opportunity, or just more you can make some more money in the deal. I assume that was a prime. What was the reason for leaving? Just wanted more money, or just got bored of the other thing?
No, actually, I actually made less money when I left the company. You had it backwards. So I had my full time gig selling leads, was
Yeah.
making a very good living. Selling refinance leads in mid 2000s. There wasn't really much selling going on, so I had a lot of spare time. So then myself and my old co-employee from Housing Assistance Services opened up this company. So it's end of 2005. I decided, okay, well, I made some good money here. I had some money saved up selling leads. I was like, I'm just going to go out on my own and run this thing full time with my partner. Didn't last very long. I mean, after 6 months, the money started burning out, and then obviously, the refinance boom was kind of tanking. So, after 6, 7 months, we ended up closing doors.
So so you leave something that's guaranteed you're making good money to go and risk it by starting your own thing,
Right? Yeah.
and
Well,
it doesn't
without
work out.
there's no reward. I mean,
No,
it's an
hold up. But
antiquated.
and that's well, and I mean that's part of the whole purpose for a lot of these conversations in general is
Right.
that very concept of risk reward, right? So the general mentality that people teach their kids forever in this country is go to school, get a degree, get a job, and
Settle.
exactly right, and you'll be with them for a while, and you get a 401k and yada yada yada, right? A lot of bullshit, for lack of a better word, right? I mean, it works for some people. Don't get me wrong. Some people are good at that.
Well, not a lot of people have the fortitude to do what a lot of people have done. I mean, the whole risk reward thing, I've done it 3 or 4 times in my adult life. I've made a lot of money, lost it all, and the losing it all wasn't gambling or anything that was bad. It's just, it was a risk. So you save up a certain amount and you start up a company, and eventually money may run out, and then you have to go get another job, do it again. So it's, rinse, repeat.
All right, so let's talk about that then. So then you leave you leave to in essence do your company thing full time,
Right.
and it lasts for about 7 months, and you run out of funds.
Right. Yeah. Well, it'd been open for about a year and a half, and then when I came in, I mean, just the market shifted in like mid 2005, where the amount of people who were able to refi, and even the people that were able to help on the loan loss mitigation side, it wasn't there, and so we essentially decided to fold the doors, and then I basically went back to selling leads. So I went back to
So
what?
you went back to the same company.
Nope. Went to actually my old boss's company and worked for him for a little while until I found that gig up in LA when I met you guys. So
All
that
right,
lasted about a year and a half.
So then you found another lead, another company to sell leads with, and then you end up moving to LA. I mean, yeah, so you moved to LA to do the same
Right.
thing.
Yeah, so essentially, when we were selling leads, obviously, I moved up to LA in what 2000 and I guess it'd be 2007, and then at that point, selling mortgage leads, which is all I knew. Mortgage leads were drying up, so making good money in that industry kind of was going away. So I interviewed with a couple of spots up in LA that I got referred to from a merger and acquisitions guy down here that lived in my complex, and just landed a couple interviews and then found one at eForce Media up in Santa Monica, and that's why I chose to live up or move up to the South Bay because I've been visiting there and they had attractive women and a good night scene.
Good reason. Good reason. So then, all right. So then you're working with these guys as well, and then you do that for a period of time, and you decide to break out on your own again.
Right. So with the company I moved in, or the company that I worked for, eForce, I mean, I learned more probably in I guess the just under a year that I was there, and unfortunately they made a bad acquisition, so they had to let everybody go in the company. And this was in the summer of 2008, and then at that point, I always knew that I didn't want to work for anybody past the age of 30, and at this point I'm 28. I got probably more drive than most people that I know, and so I hit up two people that I knew from my industry. One is Tets, who you know, and then another one is Eli, and they basically complimented what I wasn't good at, and then we basically took $5,000, threw on a credit card, and then just started up our own company. I've basically been on my own ever since. I mean, obviously, this latest venture is about 5 years into the making, but we had a good 4-year run at the one from 2008, and we made some decent money, and it was in industries that financial service based, so it's not a sexy industry, but there was definitely people with marketing dollars, and yeah, we made a pretty decent living for a
You start
while.
with 5Gs.
Hmm.
That was it.
Yeah.
I don't know why I thought there was like a huge investment that went behind this itself. All
No,
right.
no, no. I mean, honestly, it's bootstrapping. I mean, the thing is when you have the people who have the talent, and then you also have the clients that that will spend money with you. I mean, they're funding the startup for you, which was kind of something that we fell into. So I kind of took some of the clients that I had at eForce Media. They closed their doors. I was like, okay, if you guys are closing your doors, I'm taking my book of business. So it was that book of business and connections that I made, plus the $5,000 that we put on the credit card to essentially build out the websites, get the technology in place, and essentially they started prepaying for leads. We started generating leads, so we were cash flow positive from the first month.
Wow. All right. So then, and then from there, you've obviously continued to grow that, right?
Right. Well, that was the one in 2008. I mean, we basically we went through an acquisition, or I should say merger, with the company that unfortunately didn't hold up their end of the bargain, and essentially they took every dime that we had, and we lost everything, both personally and professionally. And basically, I moved down to Orange County. That was the catalyst for me moving down to Orange County and finding a room for rent, and teaming up with Bill, my old boss from eLeads, Go Apply, which I mentioned earlier in Tets, and then we started up this one. This one though, we went into it with a little bit of a different mentality. At least for me, when I started up Tesla, it was, I just want to make a bunch of money. It's that, late 20s mentality. And at this one, I was like, I want to do something that's sustainable. The paycheck will be the reciprocation of doing something that benefits companies. And this latest venture has been an amazing journey. Stressful, long hours, lots of work hours, but you get in what you put in, right?
All right. So first, I find that all kind of interesting and stuff like that. So here's okay. So here's a couple questions, right? Why do you think you are so? Obviously, you've got drive because you've done this multiple times, right? Shit hit the fan. He was like, all right, we'll do it again or whatever, right? Like it was never a what if shit blows up. It's like if it does happen, I'll do it that then kind of thing, right? I'm
Well,
assuming.
yeah, right. No, I don't worry about things I can't control. The what ifs, I
That's
think
literally my mantra, by the way. I keep telling my mom that same thing.
the what ifs and the worrying about things you can't control, and yeah, I don't know. Some people, I guess, Eric Kelly, he said it best, and I think I've told you this analogy. Some people are made from silk, made from satin. They cut easily. People like me and we're built from suede, we're built from leather. It's tough to cut through us.
Now, all right, but why do you think that is though? Like, okay,
I grew
you're
up broke.
all right, I'll give you that.
I grew up in a fucking trailer park. In a trailer. It's like, when you grow up broke, you know how it is to be broke. It doesn't scare you. Like if I lost everything today, and that's the only what if. It's like, what if everything falls apart? I can go get a job making good money. That's not the hard part for me. I have the experience, so maybe that allows me to be a little bit less stressed out when we may have a bad month or a couple months. And and I just think that the drive and ultimately the ambition that that we have as business owners, I think overcomes a lot of those worries.
But now, why wouldn't you? Okay, so why didn't you ever want to? Like, I mean, you mentioned that you wanted to not work for anybody by the age of 30. You wanted to do your own thing,
Right.
right? I mean, why that? Like, why 30? Why that goal? Where'd that goal come from?
I just see my dad being a job he's hated his entire life, and I didn't want to be like that. He sacrificed himself, because he raised two sons and he sacrificed himself. And he's been doing manual labor for 40 fucking years now. Just had a full knee replacement. He's a few years outside of retirement. He has pensions and all that stuff. That pensions isn't around for people like me. Social Security is not going to be around for people like me. I was like, the only investment that I can ever fucking count on is myself.
All right, now, but why not go the route of or was it part of your household to do the whole college thing? Like, were you ever pushing that direction to do the whole college, get a regular job, do the whole nine? Like, were did your dad ever be like, look, this is what I want from you? Like, did you have these? Were your parents pushing you to be anything?
They just want me to be happy.
All
Yeah, I
right.
mean it's simplistic. They just wanted me to be happy. I mean, I did a year of college. I mean, even before I went to college, I tried to join the military, but because of my history of asthma, I didn't get in, which is probably the best thing that ever happened was not getting into the military because Lord knows what clusterfuck that is nowadays. But yeah, no, I mean, I did a year of college and frankly, it was boring. I got good grades, didn't really buy books. It just, I'm reading economic books from the 60s and fucking 70s while this internet thing's blowing up. It just wasn't relevant.
All right. So then now, see, this is what I find interesting, right? Because a lot of people, like, I did the standard, I did the college, got an MBA, got all that stuff, whatever, right? And I look back at it now, and if I were to have a kid, whatever, like, I don't know if I would be that person who goes, hey, you need to go to college and do that kind of thing. Like, I don't think that I would push that on them at all,
Right.
right? Just because people like you who have done it independent of college, a lot of people have done it independent of college, but more so than that, people will have a drive or desire. If you don't have a drive or desire, then yeah, go to school because you're gonna have to get a regular job or whatever because you're not cut out to do your own thing, right?
Right. Or I think college has its place. I mean, not everybody is just going to have the drive out of the gate at a young age that I had. It'll take people sometimes till their 40s to figure that out. For me, I knew what my course was. Obviously, I think we both agreed that probably parents and education systems trying to push things down kids' throats that hey, it has to be this way. It's a systemic issue. And I think if they nurtured people's talents and wasn't so standard ones and twos, I think actually our education system would be a lot better. I mean, I think we both agree America's education system is woefully fucked.
Well, yeah, that's a whole different situation. But yeah, I mean, but that's okay. So then, all right, so you've done your path, right? Your path has worked out, right? You were successful, you've made money, but you've made good relationships, et cetera, et cetera.
Right.
What would you do different if you could, or would you do anything different?
Um, I don't know. That's a loaded question. I mean, because you look at would you do things different, because usually that's based on mistakes, but mistakes ultimately lead you down the path that you're at now. I mean, if everything would have gone perfectly, I probably don't think I'd have the same appreciation or be the same person that I am now. I think when you get broken multiple times, not broken
Yeah, I'm with you.
spiritually or health wise, you get what I'm saying. When you lose everything multiple times, I think it puts a different perspective on things as you, I guess, take that next risk. And so that's why I'm saying, like, the first time when I went up and started a company, I was like, I just want to make money, want to make money. This latest venture for me is like, now I want to build something sustainable, something that's going to last. So if the economy tanks, we're not going to be affected. So that way we're diversified, and I can get into detail with that, but it's pretty boring. So this time again, it's something that's sustainable, and then making good money is a reciprocation of building something that's sustainable, something where we can employ people, where people come into work and they're happy. I mean, I love seeing people's smiles on their faces. Again, yeah, we have stressful days, but at the end of the day, we're all family. I mean, it's fun to work. Not a lot of people can say that. And I think that for me is probably the best thing that I've taken away in this latest thing, the fact that it is fun again, because for a long time it wasn't.
So do you think you still have the drive? I mean, now you've got a
Yeah,
good gig, it's working, it's doing well. Are you still driven to keep creating or keep building on your success?
I'm hungry.
So I guess it's yes.
Hungry. Yeah, yeah. I mean, you go through levels of complacency, but like I just had my trip to Europe that I took, and I was ready to come back in the office, after the second week, and I just it's been great coming back the last couple of weeks and just being back on the grind, going to meetings, being on calls. I mean, I thrive and I love that environment.
So do you think you'll ever be satiated or comfortable in your success, or do you think you'll always want more?
Um, No, I don't think I'll want more. I think, well, not more in a financial sense. I think more in a less selfish sense. I definitely I think have an exit strategy over the next few years that I hope happens. That's my goal, and if it does, then I can be involved in things in a less selfish manner. Whether it's being involved on boards of companies, investing in startups. I don't know what you call it. Training people. I don't know, motivating people. I don't know. It's I'm not good at that sort of shit right now, so that's something I'll have to work on. But the
So
motivating people and basically just helping people in whatever capacity that I can. I just want to know that I can walk away without necessarily walking away. But I also want to not be on the grind as much as I am now, and be more of a source for people to look to help grow them in whichever area that is, whether it's business, life, etc.
so you have an exit strategy. You plan on you have an exit strategy that's in the near future.
That's the hope.
Yeah.
But again, you
No,
never
no,
know.
valid. Life could take different turns,
That's the
but
what if. Because again, everything could go away in a matter of a second. That's with anybody. Shit happens,
mhm.
And then again, I'll probably rinse, repeat as I've done with other aspects of my life. But yeah, so that's the ultimate goal is to exit and then be involved on things on a less selfish level.
Why?
Well, when you run a business and you're in sales, dude, there's a level of selfishness that's involved with there. There's no
True.
you have to almost be selfish in some aspect when you're an entrepreneur on your own because at the end of the day, you're relying on yourself to some extent to your partners and employees, but ultimately at the end of the day, you're the one who's held accountable.
Yeah, but I mean, but why would you want to then do something less selfish to make up for all the selfish stuff through the years, or that? I mean, what's why do you feel you need to do the transition if selfish has worked, right? And I'm
Well,
not saying
selfish is
personally,
work.
yeah.
Right.
So
No, it would, and what I mean is again though is like I just want to know that I can walk away
yeah,
from working, which means I have a solid financial situation where I'm able to do that, and then be involved on a less selfish level. Less selfish level, like I just need to worry about okay, I got to make money here, got to make money here. Just to whether it's to support, keep
mhm,
the business going or support my livelihood, parents or whatever it might be. So I just can't wait to get away from all that
got it.
and be involved on something where I'm not having to worry about it to make a living, and actually be involved to and again, this could be from I'm brain farting on the word right now, dude.
No, but I feel you. I see. I mean, I think it's either way. The goal is that so right now, and
More leadership role. That's I guess obviously I'm a boss right now and whatnot, but I think more of a leadership role, but not necessarily just in a sales capacity. I
got it.
guess if that makes sense,
No, it does. All right, that's interesting. Well, because I was curious to know what's next, and that's you pretty much answered that. But I mean, like where does one go from? You've come from financially nothing, right, to obviously very very successful. You made things happen for yourself, right? None of this stuff was given to you, handed to you. You made things happen for yourself. You did it, right, with friends, with and maintained relationships, etc. But I mean, you did it. So what more so what keeps you going, and you just said it, so the goal is to eventually not be so stressed out about work but just kind of enjoy, I guess, what you've done.
Right, enjoy what I've done. Frankly, my dad's a few years away from retirement. I always joke with him. I was like, Dad, I think we're probably going to be retiring at the same point. Hopefully, I mean, I should say be able to retire. Not that I ever will. I mean, it's just, I have too much energy to be sitting at home doing nothing. But, if I can travel more and again, be involved more on board level type stuff, help companies grow from a leadership position, strategical position, that type of stuff, invest in startups. I mean, that's the type of stuff that I ultimately want to do.
Just for and for you guys watching as well, just so you know, Jeremy did not leave the country till about what, a year ago, 2 years ago.
2 years ago,
2 years
yeah.
ago, dude didn't have a passport, and obviously it wasn't financial because he was doing okay, just didn't have a passport and had
Here,
desires, and he was joking all the time about joining me in wherever the f I was, but never did because dude just got his passport, so now he's making up for all kind of lost time and jumping on a plane all the time and going someplace,
I've
which I
loving
found
country
weird.
for the last 2 years.
Which I found weird. I didn't understand why dude didn't have a passport, but he didn't. But either way.
That you asked me earlier what my biggest regret was. That's my fucking biggest regret.
well, I mean, but now you're making up for it. So I guess that's not a regret that you cannot.
Well, I go to Papa's and Beer when you only needed your driver's license down in Rosarito about 2003. So I did make it out of the country once.
This guy, dude, Rosarito. Yeah, you want to count Mexico? I guess that counts. I
There you
guess
go.
that counts. Anyway, man, I know you got to cut out and do your thing. I appreciate the time, real quick. It's been informative to say the least, but I appreciate it in general. Everybody, this is Jeremy Buttke, and he's coming to us from lovely Southern California. It's kind of cold and rainy here in New York, but he's doing it up over there. But much appreciated for the time, dude. I really do, and I'll see you in a couple weeks.
Absolutely, but check.
Take it easy, man. Have a good one. Like.